it's always a dream to want to be healthy and fit and be running around without a care or a piece of or pain. Well, Karen Murphy, who took a leap of faith 4 years ago when she walked into Transformations Medical Weight Loss Clinics. Now, she wanted to release 35 pounds, but she did it with the help of Transformations Medical Weight Loss in 8 months. And she's been able to keep her weight off since 2012. Do the math. Now, Karen is here, and Trey Stouffer are going to join us. And Trey is the CEO of Transformations Medical Weight Loss Clinics. And together, we're all going to share the story that so many times happens in Transformations Medical Weight Loss, which is a story of hope, the story of releasing the unwanted weight. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful to the CEO, Trey Stouffer, of Transformations Medical Weight Loss Clinics. And we have another success story with Karen Murphy that are both here to join us and give that love and knowledge that we so desperately love. So welcome to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I had always been leaner, smaller than I was at the time that I walked into Transformations. Mm-hmm. I'm only 4'11", so any kind of weight gain can have an impact. But it had gotten to be around my birthday in April of 2012 that I had some pictures taken of me at my birthday party, and I had some reoccurring health issues at that point, out of breath when I was walking, heart palpitations, those types of things. And I saw those pictures and I was just in shock. I couldn't believe that I had gotten, as heavy as I had. And when I had gone to my doctor, she was like, your tests are fine. She was, the only thing I can find wrong with you is that, you're overweight. You need to do something. So at that point, I had an acquaintance who had told me, I had watched over the few weeks prior to going into Transformations, her weight loss over like a space of 3 weeks, and I asked her what she was doing, and that was when she recommended Transformations and how much it had helped her. So at that point, I had tried several things and they weren't working for me because I knew I needed to make, as you said, a lifestyle change, and the other programs I had tried weren't advocating that. They were just advocating, quick weight losses and types of things like that, but no way to maintain it after you got to that point.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of the things you had tried because, first of all, I appreciate your honesty because many of us, it takes an aha moment like that to realize, ooh, I'm overweight. I mean, did you not realize it before the doctor said anything to you?
I kind of did, but you just kind of try to ignore it. The pant sizes kept going up, and I would make excuses as to why it was happening. Oh, I was having a bad month, or my job was really stressful. I was sitting behind a desk. I just needed to get out and move a little more. There was always an excuse, and it crept up so slowly that it's one of those things that you really didn't realize until you had that smack in the face. So. For me, the pictures, I don't know what it was about the pictures from my birthday. I just looked at them and went, that's not me. I don't recognize that person in those pictures.
Oh, so what birthday was that?
That would have been my 44th birthday.
Oh, boy. Okay,
yeah.
So that is when it becomes a little harder.
It is.
To release that weight that we want to
Absolutely.
let go of.
Absolutely.
So at this point, at 4'11", I did not know this about you when you and I discussed, when we talked the first time. I did not know that about you, but that makes sense. 35 pounds on someone who's 4'11" is a much bigger deal than 35 pounds somebody that is 6 feet tall.
Yes.
So you were already feeling the damage in your body, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what are some of the things that you tried that you felt were short-term but not a long-term?
Weight Watchers was one of them. They give you points, and it's a great system. And I think it's geared towards more people who have more weight to lose than what I had to lose.
Okay.
But the thing with Weight Watchers is you have these points and you can eat whatever you want. They don't advocate that you change your eating habits. It's just telling you have 50 points and you can eat whatever you want as long as you stick within those points, which you will lose some weight. But once you get to your goal or get some success there, you don't change anything. You're going to keep eating that way.
Yes, exactly.
And then the other one I tried was, the Ally, the fat pill. I guess it's the over-the-counter, And so you have to watch what you're eating. And so it was effective at first just for the fact that I was cutting out fats, but it was also cutting out essential fats that I didn't know I needed. So, again, temporary.
Yeah, so outside of pills and Weight Watchers, at that point you felt you had to do something drastic.
I did.
And it was because of what Trey, Trey, isn't this the way you guys have been in business for 30 years? The people have gone to see you are so happy that they tell friends.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Historically, that's where we get 75% of our clients from is word of mouth.
Yes, and so Karen, as you are making your way into transformations, did you think this was going to work?
I had my doubts. I did. Yeah, I think everybody does when they try something new, just for the fact that, they want it to be successful and they want to be successful. And, everyone wants that instant gratification. And I was, and it's hard to work at it. It's hard. It's a habit. It's, you learn these bad habits and then to break them, you have to do new habits. And so for me, I wasn't sure what I was walking into. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to just be products. I didn't know if it was going to be meal plans. I didn't know if it was going to be, their meals that they ship to you. I didn't know what I was going to get, when I walked into it.
You just trusted your friends and you went through.
I did.
Okay, so on your first day there, what was your experience like?
It was great. I walked in and they were ready for me, and the whole process was about 2 to 3 hours. They talked to me about what my goals were. They took a picture of me. They got some vitals. They talked about their products. They do a very thorough health history for you because they need to know what you can take, what you can use that's going to help you be successful. Then once you go through all that, they send you out for your blood work, of course, and then they wait for that to come back, within a day or so. But they get you started. They set you down with a nutritional counsel session, and they go through their meal plan based on what you can take. And the whole process, it was very, very structured and very, they were very knowledgeable. They knew exactly what they were talking about. They knew how to work with each individual person with what their goals were and how to get there. So it was very thorough, very thorough.
At what point, Karen, did you think that this could potentially work? Going through this process, had you ever gone through anything like this before, even with your regular MD? I
had not. Your regular doctors are very good at saying you need to do something, but they're not very good at telling you how you do that. So they leave it up to the patient to say, no, this is what you need to do, but I can't. They can give you recommendations, but they really don't help you get to where you need to go sometimes.
Okay, so here you are listening to your nutritional counselor. What was your biggest, oh my gosh, I got to give up what?
I didn't have one of those. Well, I kind of did, but the best part about it was that you actually got to eat full meals, real food. Nothing was strange. You didn't have to deprive yourself per se, other than, the first phase, you just had to, minimize your processed food and your sugar and your alcohol intake. But they were very good at giving you a structured meal plan. It's complex carbs, it's dairy, it's fruit for breakfast, and then, fruit for snack, and then, it just goes from there. So every meal was scheduled.
So what was your understanding of nutrition prior to that session with Transformations Medical Weight Loss? As you're sitting there and they're telling you about the meal plan and what you should be eating, was there anything that stood out as, wow, I really did not know I was doing this?
It starts, well, they give you a food journal. And that for me was, it just held you so accountable, and you really got to see how you were eating, tracking your day. And I'm like, my typical day was, stop at fast food for McDonald's for breakfast, and then, and I had a huge Diet Coke habit. Huge. Ooh. And caffeine is a huge no-no, for anybody, really. I mean, it's just, it does a lot of things to your body. You can use caffeine within moderation, after you're all done with this and you're where you want to be, but you don't realize what effect it has. So I was drinking Diet Coke, which is bad for you anyways, just because of
the aspartame. The
exactly.
Aspartame. So I mean, from that alone, just quitting the Diet Coke alone, you probably started feeling better.
I did. And this is the strange part, but I don't know what it was, but it was the combination of foods, or maybe it was the nutraceuticals I was on, but when you stop caffeine cold turkey like that, you get a headache.
Yeah.
I did not. Now, I don't know if that was just my experience or if it was what I was doing that was changing that, but that was helpful because I was so worried that was because I had tried to stop the caffeine before, and that's what had happened with these horrible headaches. So,
okay, so let's talk about the nutraceuticals. So if that could have been the reason why you weren't experiencing, because even though you were detoxing, you were replenishing some of the nutrients that you were probably missing out on.
Absolutely.
So what were the nutraceuticals that you found that were very effective for you?
Well, they're multivitamin, of course. They're chromium. They're calcium. That was just the basic. But then I used the carb inhibitor. Their ME, their ME XL. And those were the basic ones I used just to get, through because my mother had breast cancer, so I couldn't use the HCG. So for me, I had to rely on the nutraceuticals for everything.
Okay, so you did not opt for any shots or anything. You decided that you wanted to do this the way of what? What was your thought process?
My thought process was, to where I got to that point, it was all this horrible processed, synthetic chemical-induced food, and I needed to go as natural as possible to fix what was broken within my body. So.
Okay. So let me add Trey to this conversation here, because nutraceuticals is one of the reasons I love what you're doing. So share a little bit about the nutraceuticals and why your nutraceuticals, not all nutraceuticals are created equal, and you guys are like at the top level.
Because we don't put junk in them.
Yes.
And I know that's a very, very basic statement, and people probably don't understand, but you would be amazed on the amount of fillers that are put into our natural products, unfortunately, because they aren't as regulated as our pharmaceuticals. So it's not uncommon to have a 25% product in there, and I'll use pycnogenol as a primary, and then they fill it up with 75% fillers. Well, fillers could be anywhere from not nearly as effective or true fillers. So you aren't getting the nutraceutical product that you should be getting.
Yes, and then on top of that, you guys have the gold seal.
Well, look, I mean, we have pedigrees which tell us from raw material to final product where it goes, which that doesn't seem like much, but it allows us to check and verify, number one. Number two, we have a certificate of analysis, and that tells us the potency of the product, and then you can verify that against the certificate of analysis, the certificate of analysis and the pedigree to verify that it is accurate. So there's a lot of ways to, let's call it fool the system, but then if you know what you're asking in any natural product that you walk down, ask for ask for a pedigree, ask for the certificate of analysis. You'd be amazed on how many people A, don't know what it is, or B, don't have it.
Karen, so here we are, you're sharing your story of releasing 35 pounds since 2012, but you did it in 8 months. Tell us, what was your biggest aha as you were going? Yes, you were taking the nutraceuticals that Trey shared with us that have a certification of analysis and its own pedigree. Share, what was your life like during that time when you're doing taking the steps to eat better, but maybe not seeing the results you want to see right away, or did you see the results right away?
So I lost 4 pounds in the first week. And that was a lot. for me, and I was excited. And then after that, it slowed down to about 1 to 2 pounds a week. So it got to a more normal, and so they say that the slower the weight comes off, the better chances you have for it to stay off.
Yes.
So I constantly had some type of weight loss, whether it was ounces or pounds, every week. So for me, it just kept it going. The motivation was there. The first 2 weeks were a little tough just for the fact of trying to get into a schedule of, these are my meals and this is how I do it, and making sure I ate them every few hours or whatnot, making sure I got in a schedule with that, because I was really bad about eating consistently at the same time every day as well.
How did you prepare yourself for success? Because that brings up a point that if we don't prepare ourselves for success, then we'll fall back in our old habits.
Yeah, I had a meal plan a lot. So I would spend my Sunday afternoons basically what I was going to eat all week. And for me, it's kind of torturous, but when you're on this journey of a lifestyle change and you love food as much as I love food, sitting down and making menus and going, it's hard, because you want to eat everything that you see at that point, So it's just, but it gave you a purpose. You wrote down your meals, you planned them out, you were taking control of everything you were putting in your mouth, you were making the choices. The conscious choices you were paying attention to, because I think as a society we just tend to just put whatever's in front of us, we just eat it. Convenience is such a a huge thing, and the retail and these food companies, that they take advantage of that, I think, with people, because we are so busy. The
Yes.
convenience of everything, and people don't think about, should I be eating this, should I not be eating this? So for me, the meal planning and preparing, at least nightly, I would make my lunch for the next day. If I had to go out to eat, if I had a work function or a social function, if we were going to a restaurant, I would get on that menu hours before I was supposed to go, and I would plan out my meal. I mean, it's just what I had to do for the first few months, just to make sure that I was doing what I needed to do. It was that important.
So at what point did it become a habit that you reformatted what you needed to do?
I think by the time I got to the next phase of it, which was the metabolic phase, for transformations, because they have certain phases for you to get to where you can do certain things. And at that point, it was a little bit easier. I didn't have to think about it so much.
Okay, so let's talk about these phases, Trey. She said that after the first phase, she didn't have to think about it so much. What is the first phase?
Well, the first phase is really the diet, and I know everybody hates that word. It's taboo. It is what it is, but it's caloric restriction. So 3 squares, 2 snacks, low fat, low sugar for 8 weeks, and we do 8 weeks on phase 1, and then we go to phase 2, which is also a maintenance, and that allows people to eat a higher caloric intake, so probably twice the amount of food. And it also affects the shocking of your system. So if you're on a diet continuously, your body will know it and it will fight it, and you'll experience plateaus like you can't believe.
Yeah.
But if you shock your system every 8 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 weeks, and alternate, you're shocking your system enough to where hopefully the plateaus will minimize, and this will allow your body to, in a healthier manner, walk through those and overcome them. Yeah, listen, this isn't a hobby over here. We do this for a living. So, and a lot of people don't realize that. There's I can't tell you the number of nurses that have started working for us, and they came in, they're like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of knowledge here. Yes, there is. There's a ton. And, so for a nurse to tell us that, I can't imagine what the client feels or the patient feels, because at the end of the day, there's a plethora of knowledge that is shared on a daily basis. Now, what they do with that knowledge, we can only control so much. And Karen's a great example of truly a lifestyle can make a drastic change.
Okay, so let's talk about lifestyle here, Karen, because you said this weight was creeping up a little bit at a time, and all of us can relate to that. But we also surround ourselves with kind of like-minded people that may have had their weight creep up and creep up. At what point are you saying, no, I cannot eat this to your friends, or I choose not to eat this to your friends, and did that create any division for you?
Well, when I walked into Transformations and decided that was what I was going to do, that was at the point it started. I knew I had to say no, because there's always a reason to eat something. There's always a reason to eat something, a celebration, or, oh, we're having a potluck at work, or, something. And for me, I knew that to be successful, I was going to have to make some drastic changes in order for me to be able to eventually, get to a point where if I wanted to have that glass of wine, or if I wanted to have, that cupcake, I could do it without guilt, without regret, and not have effect on my weight. So for me, it was difficult. At first people were like, you're saying no? And I'm like, yeah, no thanks, but, thanks, but no thanks. And it got to the point where they'd stop coming to my office at work and ask me, or they'd come by and go, I know you're going to say no, but, So, I mean, and they were very supportive. They didn't push. My husband was very supportive about it too. He never tried to sabotage me, which that happens sometimes.
Sure.
So it is hard. It's really hard to say no, especially, when you really want that cupcake, or you want that, that chicken nugget, or whatever it is that's in front of you at the time.
So what was your hardest thing to overcome? Your hardest hurdle or obstacle? What was that?
The boredom eating that I used to get in the evening.
Oh, tell me more about this boredom eating.
Well, once you get dinner done for the evening, and then you would settle down and, start watching TV or whatnot, or helping the kids with homework or whatever it was, you would just start to go, okay, your mind wants to tell you you're hungry, and you're really not. I wasn't listening to my body cues prior. So I had to sit there and decide, did I really want something to eat, or was I just, falling into habits? So for me, I would just have some water, or I would just go take a walk, or I would have one of the snacks that, we could have with Transformations, and it would pass. A lot of times I just had to wait for it to pass. It's just, there's no real trick to it. It's just, you just have to want it.
Karen, that was very well put, and I'd love to tap into this with you, Trey, because do you hear that all the time, boredom eating?
No, I've never heard that in my life.
I
hear it all the time.
I should have never asked you that way.
I know, right? No, there's, there are so many variables, and that's absolutely one of them. But one of the things that I did want to mention, as you were tying the last segment up, is a lot of people think they're hunger eating or are hungry, but it's really you're thirsty. And we discussed that in one of the earlier shows, but so many times if you keep hydrated, you'd be amazed on how much hunger disappears and thirst is quenched.
Yeah, we have Dr. Joel Furman on the show once a month, and he often says that hunger is felt in the neck, and it's not felt in the stomach. Or, when people get jittery, he says that is the catabolic stage of detoxification of the body. And so we confuse it as being hungry and don't allow our body to go into that catabolic stage. That's when you're done with the digestion process and getting rid of all the toxicity. So Karen, this must have been a huge lesson for you.
It was, and there was a lot of things I learned. I learned that, really food is there for fuel and sustenance, and there is some enjoyment out of it, but food can be very emotional. People look to it for comfort. They look for it when they're stressed, when they're happy, when they're celebrating, when they're sad. For me, I'd never thought I was an emotional eater until I realized I was, most of my eating happened after dinner at night until I went to sleep. Almost the worst time you can eat. And for me, I think, breaking that and recognizing that was an issue for me, like the light bulb went off. So, and that you could get enough food with what you were given on the diet plan, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and people really don't think. They look at everything gets broken down to numbers, and they're not looking at the quality of the food they're putting into them. You can eat a lot of vegetables for the amount of calories that you can waste on it. You know, you can have a lot of food for what you can eat in a Whopper versus having actual real food.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
oh, yeah.
I just started getting, you know, when I started getting changes and things were happening for me, and I started getting excited about my weight loss and what I was going to plan to do, and I started getting physically active, I started getting really interested in the science of food and how it worked with bodies and why you ate certain things to, you know, at certain times and what was the most beneficial for you. Now I eat slightly different. I don't eat bad, but I eat different because I'm more physically active, so my protein intake's higher. You know, I eat probably 1,600 calories, 1,800 calories a day, but I burn it all off now, you know, because I'm so active. But, you know, you have to get to that point. But food is, you eat it in the right combinations and do the right things with it, and you can really make some changes in your body.
Okay, so that's great. It's great. It sounds like to me that 35 pounds became kind of like a gift and a lesson for you at the same time. What kind of advice would you share with someone that is facing the same, maybe it's not 35, maybe it's 10 pounds, maybe it's 100 pounds. Weight is weight, releasing is releasing. So what kind of advice would you share to someone who's on the fence about needing that extra help?
It's a commitment, and you have to be ready to do it, because if you're not, you're not going to be successful no matter what you try. If it's 10 pounds, you know, you can totally just revamp a few things you're doing. Move a little more, eat less cake, you know, add more vegetables, drink more water. There's certain things you can do, you know, to lose that 10 pounds. Now, if you need to lose 100 pounds, you need to make some serious concessions and decide what's more important. Eating what you want or losing that weight to be healthy, to like how you look, to love who you are. You know, I mean, so many things changed for me after that 35 pounds. Confidence, the way I feel, what I think I can do now. You know, it's just, you have to commit to it.
Well, let's talk about, it's been since 2012. So this weight has come off for a long time and you've maintained it off. What has been the beauty of being with transformation? Because most people release the weight and they never see their people again and maybe go to a next fad diet. How has transformation helped you keep that weight off?
It's always there. I can go and get all the nutraceuticals that I want. It keeps me accountable. It's a great support system there. I walk in, they know me by name, they're always happy to see me. They have products that can help you maintain it. You know, I love the pycnogenol, I love the lipotropic. The carb inhibitor is always great for when I have a little celebration I'm going to, or a dinner out. I take that before I go. You know, it still has tools that can help me be successful. And the habits that I've learned, it's still there. I mean, I still use it. They're there to help you no matter what. If it's been, the last time I was in was May, and I went in again last week, and they looked at me and they're like, oh, you look great. What can we do for you today? You know, it's just knowing that you have it there and can use it as you need to. I go, you know, as much as I need to. I know it's there. So it's just a great support system.
Okay, and Trey, what would you like to add to that? Because we're almost out of time here.
Gosh, what could I add to that? You know,
Yeah.
she's a great example of what accountability and consistency, and she's not chewing on bark. She's actually living her life and enjoying it, and has benefited from the education. So she speaks for herself on that.
Well, wonderful. Great job, Karen Murphy. And thank you so much to Transformations Medical Weight Loss Clinics for everything that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.